It has been said by Vin Diesel that he is of a kind of unclear ethnicity. This conviction has been carried by the Fast and Furious star into his love for everyone in his immediate environment. On the other hand, the passing of his close friend and fellow Fast and Furious co-star Paul Walker was a tragedy that affected him profoundly in the heart. What impact did this have on Vin? Did Paul Walker's daughter end up in a different place? We want you to join us as we investigate the reasons behind Paul Walker's decision to leave his daughter with Vin Diesel. The star duo hit it off. Despite the cutthroat nature of the Hollywood industry, Vin Diesel and Paul Walker were the closest of friends and built a deep relationship with one another. There are a lot of names that spring to mind when it comes to celebrity friendships, but none of them stand out as much as Vin Diesel and Paul Walker do about their relationship. A wide variety of famous people, like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, and others, have developed friendships with other well-known celebrities. Even before they achieve popularity, some people do this. Walker and Diesel had such a strong and sincere bond that Diesel even accompanied Walker's daughter on her wedding day along the aisle. Even though Walker has passed away, he continues to be one of the most esteemed performers. Diesel still sings him praises and expresses his gratitude for the time they spent together, and he expresses a desire to bring him up whenever the opportunity presents itself. In light of this, it was reasonable to assume that they shared certain secrets as well, one that they never disclosed to the general public. Then, what exactly is this key? What kind of an influence did Paul Walker have that Vin is still paying attention to today? The counsel of Vin Diesel is given. On the subject of becoming a father, Paul Walker said, "Go in there, family forever." Considering that Vin Diesel, the star of the Fast and Furious franchise, lives by those words daily, it is more than just a corny phrase in the franchise. Even though he might show signs of becoming a bothersome sibling at times. However, his homage to the late co-star Paul Walker, which he paid on the 8th anniversary of his passing, exemplifies this concept by revealing some valuable advice about fatherhood that he received from his close friend. Diesel recalls filming F4 and how he informed Walker that he was going to have a child. Walker was surprised to hear the news. "We are not going to forget what you shared with me. Although you stated that a lot of tough males will advise you to wait outside the delivery room, you are incorrect in your statement." As Diesel said on Instagram, "Go in there, actually cut the umbilical cord, and it will be the best day of your life that you have ever experienced." At that moment in time, Walker was already a father, as is inevitable. Diesel has stated that he considers that piece of wisdom and their brotherhood daily. In addition to this, he disclosed that the infant that Walker had assisted him in preparing would eventually become the future maid of honor at the wedding of Walker's daughter. There is no doubt that Diesel's daughter served as Meadow Walker's maid of honor. "The same angel that you assisted me in preparing for most beautifully with your brotherly counsel is the same angel that Meadow, who is so sweet, asked to be her maid of honor," he wrote. "When I was working on the set in 2008, how could I have known that? When I ask my children about Uncle Paul, they always tell me that he is always with you, Dad. Moreover, I am aware that they are correct in my heart. When it comes to advice, there is not much that may be more helpful than simply diving headfirst into the experience of being a father from the extremely beginning. If you want to enter that delivery room that will permanently change your life, the ideal attitude to employ is to approach it as if it were going to be the best day of your life." He was my rock. When Vin Diesel became a father, he sought advice from his late co-star Paul Walker, who was also a father. While chatting with Access, the F9 actor 53 discussed Walker's legacy and how he looked up to the late star when he became a dad in real life. This was the case even though the characters in the Fast and Furious films had a different mentoring dynamic on screen. "On set, I was always the big brother who would defend anyone and ride for anyone. I would do everything for anyone. Diesel stated of Walker, who was the father of Meadow Walker, that they may have looked up to me on set from the very beginning, but I hadn't been a parent and Pablo had been a father. As a result, I relied on him during the process of transitioning into parenthood, Diesel continued. That man was my rock. He was the one who made the statement. The irony is that the roles that we had and the scenes that we had that discussed fatherhood in Fast Five and throughout the franchise in real life were reversed to the point where, as you are aware, my youngest child, when I was in the delivery room and writing down her name, even my mother still says, all these years later, Pablo was in the room with you. It was for this reason that I wrote Pauline. The majority of people conjure up images of rippling muscles, flaming explosions, heroic acts, and dude bro manliness of the highest kind when they hear the name Vin Diesel. Nothing more, nothing less than that. A real-life action hero. Known as the off-screen hero who wants you to look past his physicality, Vin Diesel is a popular actor. The fact of the matter is, however, that the majority of people have not given Vin Diesel or the roles he portrays a great deal of serious consideration. Why would they do that? After all, brawn does not change. When it comes to our heroes, both on and off screen, we need a little or a lot more personal power. Emotional intelligence, sensitivity, and depth are increasingly the deciding factors in a hero's likability. If there is one thing that we have learned from being alive in the 2020 seconds that will last for a long time, it is that we need a little or a lot more personal power. About Vin Diesel. His larger-than-life hyper-macho character may, on the surface of things, appear to be a part of the problem of toxic masculinity that is associated with the status quo. Nevertheless, this is not the aim of the actor. If one were to give it any more attention, a significant portion of his work would be proof of the opposite. Vin has demonstrated that he is a real-life action hero, much like the vast majority of the roles that he has portrayed up to this point. In case you haven't heard already. According to the legend, Diesel was riding his motorcycle on the Hollywood road in the year 2001 when he observed a vehicle collision that was a raging, blazing catastrophe in real time. Is it because of all the times he had to think quickly on his feet while working in the film industry, or is it just because of who he is? Whatever the reason may have been, Diesel continued to abandon his bicycle, pull the two children out of the vehicle, and then successfully instruct the driver on how to get out of the vehicle before the vehicle was consumed by flames a few minutes later. This is a true tale. Imagine being saved by Vin Diesel, who exists in the world. Sacred. However, even though Diesel appears to be extremely capable of channeling the hardness of his role when it is required, we admire him because, at his core, he is a genuine softy. You are the first to hear it here. Vin has been essentially reduced to his buff look, just as sexy actresses are objectified and not regarded as seriously as their jobs may demand. Vin's appearance has been a major factor in this. Almost everyone is only concerned with his physique and stops there. On the other hand, he makes an effort to disseminate positive energy and masculine love. So, confronting the distinctive incapacity of toxic masculinity to love that is associated with the current quo, he tells Flaunt that the finest version of himself has always been nothing more than a straightforward expression of love. I truly, really, believe it to my core. Perhaps the fact that I worked as a bouncer in New York City means that I have to put on an act of being tough. To put it another way, as a result of this, I have more leeway to experience love, if that makes any sense. Indeed, Vin has always been a difficult individual. After all, a bouncer is a harsh person, by definition. However, his cinematic performances have also helped to cement his toughness. And because of this, our perception of the man has been altered. However, he wants us to be aware that it is not accurate. Diesel's most recent action movie, Bloodshot, is one of the films that has been most affected by the COVID-19-induced closing of theaters throughout the world. This is because it was released just a few days before the implementation of mass lockdown measures in March. The main character of the movie is a former soldier who has been upgraded with technology and is persuaded into being an assassin for a corporation. An ode to heroic comics, which were notorious for creating superheroes who were imperfect and, as a result, more approachable to readers. Bloodshot was conceived to bring a fresh perspective to the superhero story narrative. According to Vin's explanation, we had a strong desire to address topics such as post-traumatic stress disorder. In addition, we were interested in imagining how it might interact with our idea of a superhero. In other words, the hero of Bloodshot is controlled by his feelings, even though he possesses a lot of muscle and flair, and that is kind of what makes the movie so tender. He says, you feel sorry for this character. The empathy that the character evokes while simultaneously having superhero-like powers creates a very interesting dynamic to play a character who both evokes empathy and evokes fear simultaneously was very challenging, but it was a very rewarding experience. Vin's viewpoint, on the other hand, demonstrates a deeper comprehension of human nature as well as our requirements and preferences. He has decided that he no longer wants to portray masculine heroes with a single dimension, family and love. Diesel is, without a doubt, the most well-known actor living today for his performance as Dom Toretto in the Fast and Furious film series, which began in 2001 and continues to this day. After meditating on his role, a persona he has inhabited for over 20 years, he then acknowledges the difference between the two. However, what many people do not know is that he has been making attempts to develop a more emotionally mature and sophisticated action hero since the very beginning. During the early stages of his career, Dom Toretto did not have the freedom to lead with love in the same way that I did. There are moments when I attempt to urge the world to be an expression of love, and those are the times when I speak my truth. In all honesty, it is a well-balanced takeout. It would appear that to sell films and spread love through Diesel, one must investigate the mechanisms of Diesel in greater detail. Diesel is a parent in real life, much like Toretto is in the stories. There are several ways in which he believes that what the world requires is a reconciliation with the figure of the parent. In addition, it is hoped that Fast 9 will contribute in some way to the process of reconciling our world's connection with and comprehension of the father archetype. He was altered by his late parenthood. At a later point in his life, he decided to start a family of his own. The fact that he is working in the profession, much like his female colleagues, has meant that he has had to put off reaching that stage in his life. Vin did not become a parent until he was in his 40s. Becoming a father was a transformative experience. Because of the high level of competition in this field, he stated, I waited a very long time to become one. There are moments when you have to be quite self-centered if you want to become the most famous person in the world. To establish a family, there are instances when you have to be a little bit late. In 2007, Vin and Paloma Jimenez, who was already his companion, decided to get together. Since then, the two have been going strong in their relationship. The couple is the parents of 3 children, Pauline, Vincent, and Hanya. The latter was named after Paul Walker, who had passed away, and Vin had a deep affection for him. The children he has are his entire world. Indeed, his daughter has a significant influence on him. To me, my daughter is the queen. If I did not give her a video of where or what Daddy was doing, I would get in trouble even if I was on a talk show. She is everything to me, and I would be in trouble if I did not send her a video. Vin claims that his daughter, who is just 4 years old, was the one who came up with a strong statement that was used in Fast 9. However, we will have to see it to find out. Not with hatred, but with love, he leads. The problem with Vin is that he doesn't worry about anything. Love is the guiding principle in his life. The globe is the recipient of his affection, which he gladly displays to the world. He takes pleasure in it and wants us to join him in acknowledging that he is vulnerable. However, the fact that he has a more sensitive side does not make him any less of a powerful guy. The exact opposite is true. As a hero, Vin is exactly what the world needs right now. For my part, I couldn't be happier to live in a society where action thrillers are based on the experiences of young girls and dads who are deeply affectionate toward their children. Early life. First things first, let's take a look at Mr. Tough Look Soft Heart. Childhood. On the 18th of July, 1967, Mark Sinclair was born in Alameda County, California, in the United States of America. His professional name is Vin Diesel, and he is an American actor and film producer. He is also one of the most grossing actors in the entertainment industry. The role of Dominic Toretto, which he played in the Fast and Furious franchise, is what brought him the most fame. Young Sinclair spent his childhood in New York City with his mother, fraternal twin brother, and his stepfather, Irving Vincent, who was of African-American descent. He was given some of his earliest stage jobs by a theatrical manager who was responsible for his career. He began working as a club bouncer when he was still in his teens and adopted the name Vin Diesel at that time. After enrolling at Hunter College, he decided to pursue a career in acting in Los Angeles and dropped out of school. Who was Vin Diesel when he first began his career? Diesel's first performance on stage was in The Children. Played Dinosaur Door, which was written by Barbara Garson. Diesel was just 7 years old at the time. Located in the Greenwich Village neighborhood of New York City, the play was staged in the theater for the new city. His participation in the play began when he, his brother, and a few others broke into the theater for the new city location on Jane Street to vandalize it. This was the beginning of his engagement in the play. Crystal Field, the creative director of the theater, approached them and offered them positions in the next performance rather than contacting the police. She wanted them to participate in the production. Diesel continued his involvement in the theater throughout his teenage years. He then went on to attend Hunter College in New York City, where he majored in creative writing and began composing screenplays and other forms of screenwriting. He has referred to himself as an actor who possesses several facets. During his time working as a bouncer at the New York nightclub Tunnel, Sinclair began using the stage name Vin Diesel. He wanted a moniker that was more intimidating to reflect his profession, so he called himself Vin Diesel. Vin is derived from the surname Vincent, which was his mother's marital name, and Diesel is a surname that was given to him by his friends because of his inclination to be very active. Paul Walker. Painful end ripped Vin apart. It came as a shock to everyone across the world when Paul Walker, who had starred in the Fast and the Furious film series, passed unexpectedly in 2013. On the other hand, his death had a tremendous impact on one individual, Vin Diesel, who was his lifelong friend and co-star. Diesel was like a brother to the actor who passed away. Even after all these years, Vin has never failed to cherish and remember his genuine buddy, who has a particular place in his heart. He has never failed to do so. It was in the film The Fast and the Furious that Paul Walker and Vin Diesel made their first appearance together on screen. Walker played the role of Brian O'Connor, while Diesel played Dominic Toretto, the head of the organized crime group. The two performers began establishing a lovely friendship off-screen that spanned both time and distance, in addition to the emotional tie that the characters in the movie form with one another. At the beginning of the series, they developed a true connection that lasted for over 15 years and continued throughout the production of the films, from 2001 to 2013. This bond lasted for the entirety of the franchise. Diesel is the godfather of Meadow Walker, the daughter of his deceased buddy, demonstrating that their remarkable connection extends well beyond the typical interaction between celebrities. Diesel said that when they originally began working on this project, they believed that they were going to make a movie about historic cars and that they would only do one movie and then stop. Instead, he said that he was uncertain about whether the strategy was to produce 7, 8, 9, or 10 as an option. Diesel thought on a promise that they had made to one another, claiming that they would take this brand and terminate it at Fast 10. Diesel reiterated this then once as they continued their discussion of this topic. Walker reached out to his followers on Twitter on the 30th of November 2013 to inform them that the 6th chapter of the treasured movie series will soon be available for purchase. Unfortunately, Walker was involved in an automobile accident a few hours later, and he tragically departed suddenly. On that particular day, Walker, who was a tremendously well-known philanthropist, devoted his time to attending a humanitarian event. The character that Walker had played had a similar enthusiasm for racing vehicles, and Walker himself had the same desire. Walker and his friend Roger Rodas hosted the charity event in the high-performance vehicle store that they operated on that same day. Walker had been seated in the passenger seat of the vehicle when they left the gathering, and Rodas was the one behind the wheel. The driver suddenly lost control of the car, which was only a few hundred yards away from where they were. Those who were there at the occurrence made a hasty effort to assist, but they were unable to do so. Those who were close to Walker watched helplessly as the news of the catastrophe immediately traveled around the media. Fans all across the world were stunned to learn of Walker's demise within a matter of hours. Given the intimate friendship that existed between Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, the news of Walker's passing was a devastating blow to Diesel. The death of his closest companion tore him apart for all time. On the other hand, the actor has always made an effort to preserve his memory by consistently discussing Walker and the unique bond they shared. It is a well-known truth that he would regularly shed tears in front of the camera during certain interviews. In addition, the actor recounted his encounter with Walker's mother the day after the terrible vehicle accident transpired. In his admission, he acknowledged that the response of Walker's mother, in which she expressed regret, had taken him by surprise. I said, "Why is that? For what reason are you apologizing to me?" In addition, she stated, "Because you have lost your best friend." Vin Diesel had a hard time coming to terms with the fact that his most trusted confidant had abruptly disappeared and that they would no longer be able to rely on and watch out for one another. Walker was a significant source of support for him, particularly when he assisted Diesel in re-establishing his relationship with his mother by assisting. After spending 15 years growing from being a nobody to somebody with a sibling, you suddenly find yourself in a situation where he is no longer there, and it is a really difficult experience. Diesel had not even had time to grieve the loss of his friend, even though Fast and Furious 7 was still in the process of being produced. During the time that the movie was being filmed, Diesel was compelled to act as though his friend was standing next to him. This was because Walker had died away before. Additionally, Diesel gave his second daughter the name Pauline as a tribute to his deceased friend. Both the Diesel and Walker families frequently get together, and a special bond between their daughters shows how friendship can cut across all barriers. Above all, Diesel remained close to Meadow, his goddaughter, whom he said takes good care of him. Who is Meadow Walker? The entire story of Meadow Walker. Meadow Walker went her route on the journey. It would be reasonable to assume that Meadow Walker would follow in her late father's footsteps and pursue a career in acting, yet she is a model instead. She is a philanthropist who respects the legacy of her late father through the Paul Walker Foundation, which is something that she shares with her father. This is one thing that she has in common with her father. Meadow Walker and her late father, the actor Paul Walker, have a close relationship between them. This is the case. Meadow was born in Los Angeles on the 4th of November 1998, to the actor who played Fast and Furious and his girlfriend at the time, Rebecca Soderos. Meadow spent her childhood in Hawaii with her mother, and she only saw her father on a semi-regular basis. After some time, she relocated back to Los Angeles, where she lived with her parents for some time, until she eventually moved in with Paul permanently. He passed away in an automobile accident on November 30th, 2013, which was less than a year after his death. For a great number of years, my heart was filled with desperation because of the situation with my daughter. She resides in Hawaii, and she is now there, while I am rushing to be here first. Just a few months before his passing, the actor provided an interview with Entertainment Weekly in which he stated, "My daughter lives with me full-time now, and she is the best partner I ever had." What a crazy idea. A situation like this has never occurred to me in my whole life. Meadow has gone on to become a successful model in the years that have passed after her father's passing, and she continues to recognize and celebrate her father's legacy via the charitable work that she does. Additionally, she has maintained a tight relationship with his fellow cast members from Fast and Furious, and she has even become a part of the franchise herself. It was in October of 2021 that Meadow tied the knot with actor Louis Thornton Allen. However, in December of 2023, the couple announced that they were to separate. On the 4th of November in the year 1998, Meadow was born to Walker and Soteros. Meadow relocated to Los Angeles to be in closer proximity to Walker after spending her childhood in Hawaii with her mother. According to what Paul stated to Parade in 2009, "I think my mom said it best." She stated that young girls could make their fathers more affectionate. Walker told people about his daughter, who was 12 years old at the time, that she is somewhat more like her mother, but that she is also how I am by nature. This was after Meadow came to Los Angeles after 11 years. He continued by saying that Meadow is more of a free roamer and that she enjoys the simple things in life. Following the signing of her contract with DNA Models in 2017, Meadow launched her career as a model, as stated in her Instagram bio. Meadow is the face of Givenchy Beauty, in addition to walking the catwalk for prominent designers such as Proenza Scholler and Alexander McQueen. Meadow is widely recognized for her beauty and fashion. In March of 2023, the two 5-year-olds celebrated one of her first significant campaigns with the business by posting a snapshot of her face in an advertisement that was shown over a cosmetics counter at a department store. In September 2015, Meadow, who was having a difficult time letting go of her father, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the manufacturers of the Porsche Carrera GT that her father's friend Roger Rodas was driving at the time of the accident, which resulted in both of them being killed at the accident site. In the lawsuit that People was able to get, it was said that the automobile did not have any safety measures that may have either averted the accident or, at the least, allowed Paul Walker to survive the collision. A settlement was made between Meadow and Porsche in the year 2017. She was also awarded a settlement from Rodas, a state of $10, $1 million, which was deposited into a trust, according to her attorney, who spoke to People that time. Announcing the establishment of the Paul Walker Foundation was Meadow's way of paying tribute to her father on the occasion of what would have been his 42nd birthday in September of 2015. To empower young people and provide support for the environment in which they live, the group is committed to performing acts of goodwill that are completely unplanned. Additionally, the organization continues its legacy of contributing to ocean conservation. When Meadow was thinking about her father, she found herself thinking about the things that he was passionate about. She said on Instagram beside a cute vintage photo of her and Paul, "I have a strong desire to share that aspect of him with the entire world, which is why I decided to establish this foundation. I desire to impart that aspect of him to other people." Meadow has been involved in a variety of charitable endeavors through the non-profit organization that she founded. In June of 2022, she announced that the PWF Do Good Scholarship will be awarded to a student who is not just deserving, but who has a strong desire to solve the essential needs of their community or environment. In October 2021, Meadow and her angel Louis Thornton Allen tied the knot in a private ceremony on the beach in the Dominican Republic. This came after a whirlwind courtship between the two of them. Vin Diesel, a personal friend of the bride, father and a co-star in the film Fast and Furious, escorted the bride down the aisle as she went down the aisle in a Givenchy haute couture dress that was made just for her. There are a handful of her father's Fast and Furious co-stars with whom the model has maintained a strong relationship. Both Jordana Brewster and Diesel were there during her wedding, with Diesel being the one who walked her down the aisle after the ceremony. In addition, Diesel disclosed that his daughter, Hania Riley Sinclair, was given the distinction of serving as Meadow's maid of honor. "Pablo, have a look at this picture. It will put a smile on your face," the action actor said on Instagram beside a picture of Meadow and Hania as they were attending the wedding. "The same angel that you assisted me in preparing for most beautifully by providing me with advice on our brotherly side is the same angel that Meadow, who is exceptionally wonderful, asked to be her maid of honor." In an interview with Extra that took place in June 2021, Diesel disclosed his close relationship with Meadow and mentioned that he has a strong protective attachment to her. According to him, "She is the first person to wish me a happy Father's Day on the occasion of Father's Day. It is one of the most lovely things in the world to witness her having fun with my children. There are times when I watch her playing with his daughter Pauline, who is 6 years old, and it has a profound impact on me because I can only imagine what my brother sees when he sees her doing that." Every year, Meadow celebrates her late father's birthday and marks the anniversary of his passing by posting heartfelt tributes on Instagram. She does this to memorialize her father. During the year 2021, she published a flashback photo of herself as a little child, in which she was embracing the actor while he was kissing her cheek. "I will never stop loving and missing you. Today and every day, I celebrate your life, your love, and you, my best friend," she said in the description of the photo. Meadow sent a heartfelt homage to her father on Instagram in September 2023, the month that would have been her father's 50th birthday. A nice vintage photo of her and Walker together was uploaded to her Instagram account. "All the best on your birthday, my guardian angel." She expressed her gratitude in the caption, stating, "Thank you for your love, guidance, friendship, sunshine, and for raising me to see all of the beauty that exists in the world. Every day, I think about you and miss you." Throughout the 10th anniversary of her father's passing in 2023, Meadow uploaded a video of Walker that had never been seen before. She captioned the adorable video posting on Instagram, which showed Meadow surprising her father on his birthday. "10 years without you, I love you forever." Meadow was surprised by her father. Meadow made a cameo appearance in the final movie of the Fast and Furious franchise, which was created by her father. On the 19th of May 2023, the premiere of Fast X took place, and only a few days before that, she teased her presence on Instagram, a heartfelt homage to the critically acclaimed film series, and Walker was written by her in the Instagram caption. At the age of 1, the very first Fast was made available to the public. Meadow said that she spent her childhood on the set, where she saw her father, Vin, Jordana, Michelle, Chris, and other people on the monitors. "Because of my father, I was born into a household that moves at a rapid speed. It's hard for me to think that I'll soon be able to be in the same room with people who have been there to see my development." In addition, Meadow expressed her gratitude to the director of Fast X, Louis Leterrier, for his generosity, patience, and support during her time on set. She also expressed her gratitude to the film producer, Brandon Bertel, whom she referred to as my father's closest friend. The conclusion she reached was, X I am so fortunate to be able to honor the legacy of my father and share this with him for the rest of my life. After the screening, individuals had conversations with the actors who play the roles of Diesel, Brewster, and Michelle Rodriguez in Fast and Furious about the experience of having Meadow on set. Diesel expressed that the fact that she wanted to honor her father and contribute in her manner to the work that he had done during his life had a profound effect on him. This meant everything to me. Rodriguez continued. It is everything to us because Paul's memory is never going to die within the franchise, so as long as we are doing it, we have to maintain that, keeping his energy alive. This is because Paul's legacy exists throughout the franchise. Brewster, on the other hand, stated that it was quite motivating to see Meadow put in a lot of effort while she was working with the Fast X cast. We appreciate you watching. Before you go, make sure that you have subscribed to our channel and that you have seen one of our other intriguing videos for yourself.